At the edge of the sea, where the waves crash against ancient stones, there stood a gate, no ordinary gate, but a Torii, floating, untouched by time. This was no illusion. The Torii Gate of Itsukushima, a sacred passage between worlds, had been there for centuries. But no one truly understood how or why it floated above the waters, defying the laws of nature. Legend tells that the Torii was built by the gods themselves, an offering to mark the boundary between the mortal realm and the spiritual one. It was not just a gate, but a divine threshold. Only those pure of heart could pass through, crossing into a world where the gods walked, a place of peace and eternal beauty. But even the most devout must approach with respect, for to approach the Torii without reverence could awaken forces beyond understanding. As the sun began to set, a traveller stood on the shore, eyes fixed on the floating gates. His name was Ryota, a man whose heart had long been clouded by sorrow. The death of his beloved had left him lost, adrift in a world that no longer made sense. But today something called to him, something ancient and powerful. Drawn by whispers on the wind, Ryota found himself standing before the sacred gates, yearning for the peace he so desperately sought. He stepped forward, the waters lapping at his feet. As he neared the Torii, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew heavy, filled with the scent of salt and incense, and the sky above darkened. A voice, deep and ancient, whispered through the winds. "What is it you seek, mortal?" Ryota faltered, his heart racing. He had heard tales of those who sought the gods' guidance but never returned. Yet something within him urged him on. "I seek peace," he said, his voice trembling. "I seek to understand why I must carry this burden alone." For a long moment there was silence. The gates shimmered, glowing faintly in the twilight. Then a figure emerged from the waters, bathed in light. It was the spirit of the sea, her form delicate, yet powerful. She looked at Ryota with eyes full of sorrow and wisdom. "You seek answers," she said, "but the greatest truth is not in understanding, but in accepting what cannot be changed." With those words, Ryota felt a weight lift from his soul. The Torii gates began to fade, their floating form disappearing into the night as the waves calmed. The spirits had granted him peace, and as he turned away, Ryota understood. Some things, no matter how much we wish for them, cannot be changed. But acceptance is the path to peace. If this story resonated, please like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment below and help the channel grow.